What's up? Um, so today I'm just gonna, this was the track that we worked on last stream. Today I'm just gonna do a little sound design. I'm gonna focus on trying to make, so my original idea was I was gonna try to make a string ensemble using only, using like individual string sounds and kind of like layering them together, which would be just kind of a fun experiment in sound design. So yeah, maybe we'll do something like that. So I do want to, oh, hey everyone. Sorry, I'm just like now looking at the chat. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna be, oh, right. Sorry, I get so scatterbrained. Like once I'm on the spot, it's hard for me to keep my thoughts in order. So I just wanted to quickly, I'll say this now so that like I'm on record saying it. So even if you're not watching the live stream live and you come back to this later, you can listen. So in the video that I uploaded the other day that was talking about the copyright issue of video game sound fonts, I made a pretty big error, a pretty big mistake that I overlooked, and somebody in the comments called me out on it, and they were right. And admittedly, to my embarrassment, I pushed back because I was like, no, they're wrong. I think they're mistaken. But I did my research after being called out on it, and I decided to. I'm sorry. I did my research, and I realized upon doing my research that they were not only were they right, but they were like super right. And I didn't want to leave something up that I didn't want to leave up a video that was like really badly, it was just kind of in bad faith. Like I advertised myself. I advertised myself, like my Patreon as like I make free instruments for people, which I do. But on screen, I showed some like Roland software synthesizers and some Abbey Road stuff, and their license agreements actually prohibit using them for creating new sound libraries for other people to use. So, so just so it's clear for the record, I will absolutely not be using those things in my sounds. I will only be using stuff that is completely free and in the public domain, or mostly I'll be using things that I record myself probably. But yeah, things that I record myself from, from like my actual mic and my instruments and stuff that I have here, and things that are completely free to use online. I have absolutely no intention of infringing any copyright myself. Sorry, let me catch up with chat. Apologies for missing the last stream. Oh, no biggie. I mean, whenever you can come by is great, and if you can't, my feelings won't be hurt. Pharaoh hey, what's up? Great to see you here. Hopefully I'm pronouncing this right. Soteris makes music. A dry erase board can help with scatterbrain when presenting. That's great advice. I actually have a little dry erase board right here in my little room / home studio. Yeah, Lab Chirp, you're right. Definitely got to hit up Lab Chirp. You did mention that before. G-Star the First, you say, I saw a retrospective about sound fonts, and it said that using existing game sound fonts for your own game is legal because games pulled sound fonts from existing sound libraries and synthesizers. That is not true. I'm sorry. I know that that's bad news. Unfortunately, that is not totally true. The sounds that are used in retro games that are now turned into sound fonts, they're not strictly speaking legal, because those sounds actually belong to the creator of the sound itself, which is often like Roland or Korg. So, like, for example, the composer or the game company bought that synthesizer, or that sample-based synthesizer, or PCM synthesizer, and so they have a legal license to use it. So they're legally licensed to use it because they paid for it, and that's why they can use those sounds in their games. However, the average person taking those sounds out of the game and then using them for themselves, well, they didn't pay for those sounds. They didn't pay Roland or Korg or, I'm drawing a blank on who else. Was Unicorn Dream or whatever was made the last stream I was in using those sound fonts? Which sound fonts do you mean? I don't remember what we used to make that. To be safe, if you're not sure, I would just not use it in the future. Anything that I make on stream will be safe to use. I won't be. I mean, I can still, like, for myself, I can still do sound design using those things that I mentioned. I just can't distribute it. So going forward, anything that I create will only be using things that are, legally covered. The whole point of the sound design stuff is for I create something and then anybody can use it, not have to worry about like payment or credit or anything like that. Let's see. Sorry, catching up. Mistakes happen. At least you're okay with owning up to it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was kind of a big mistake to make. I didn't read the fine print, and I made a mistake. And not only did I make a mistake, but I doubled down when somebody commented challenging me on it. So that was kind of a really bad look. And I mean, half the reason that I took the video down was because of the copyright issue that I created, but the other half was just for it's just a bad look. I mean, I'm being transparent and still talking about it, but I don't need to have a video up that just that I'm of me actively portraying myself in a bad light. But I'll still be honest about it. Anyway, Roland samples got used in Pokemon. Yeah, they did, in a lot of Pokemon games. And that's because whoever the composer is probably physically owns either a Roland synthesizer or the software synthesizer. Then why did Pizza Tower get away with it? Okay, so that's the question, really. The question that comes up a lot is about getting away with it. And that's the thing about video game sound fonts, is that technically it's probably not legal, but it seems like nobody really cares that much. Probably because the sound fonts from games, even though those sounds might originally come from those Roland or Korg or whoever, those wavetable synthesizers or PCM synthesizers, sorry, they might originally come from them, but they're usually compressed so down to a small size that they lose a lot of the quality of the sound. And so they're not really I'm kind of just retreading the entire video right now, but those samples, once they've been put in a video game, they're bit crushed and they're smaller and they don't sound quite as good as their original source. And as such, they don't really harm the sales of the original source. And so the source probably just doesn't care. It's not hurting their sales. They're not looking at it. But that doesn't mean that it's legal. Just because nobody's actively prosecuting or like litigating over it doesn't mean that it's legal. But also, and I want to make it clear that in no way am I like endorsing anything like piracy or what have you. But technically speaking, that kind of thing is nearly impossible to track. If you're using video game sound fonts, 9 times out of 10, they probably have samples in them that are from a synth, a PCM synth or a sample library. And the thing about those sample libraries is, with the exception of sample CDs in some cases, they're not tracking that. They don't actually know if you own it or not. And mostly they're not asking. But again, that doesn't mean that it's safe, and it doesn't mean that it's legal. You are taking a risk. Yeah, so like if you use a Roland synthesizer is different. If you're using like something that's sample based, like a JV 1080 or a Korg Triton, they're all sample based, so that kind of stuff is different. A synthesizer, on the other hand, that's no big deal because you are the one creating the sound. Okay, that's enough preaching from me. So yeah. So right now I've got this originals folder that some of you are probably familiar with at this point, and I'll go into the samples folder. So I have all these samples here are things that I have made myself. The things in these subfolders: Capri, drum kit, organic, and processed. Maybe not organic. No, I'm not sure. Yes, organic. Okay, so these are all mine. These are all things that I recorded myself, including these. And so those are the things that I will probably processed are sounds that I've created using stuff. And now I have this public domain folder, which is pretty small as of right now, but there's no cops around. Anything's legal. Unfortunately, it's like that's kind of the vibe around video game sound fonts. It's kind of like, yeah, if nobody's watching, then it's not. I mean, it's still illegal, but that's kind of the vibe that people are giving. It can load your own SF2s. Oh, sorry, I missed your. If you want something somewhat legally gray area, look into STS-26, I think by H.G. Fortune. That used to be commercial, but the author passed away. Stock SF2 is prohibited, but it can load your own SF2s. Oh, cool. Yeah, my goal is to like make sound fonts that are not tied to anything except maybe me, but I don't expect any payment or attribution or anything. Just use it. Right now, my library of those things is pretty small. Deeg says, so someone buys an old broken JV 1080. Do they have the license to use the sounds? They have the license to use them. They can use them in like, producing music or like recording music and stuff like that, but they can't just record the notes or whatever, and then sell that as a sample, or like put those samples into a synthesizer and then call it their sound. Steve Cusick, if you blend layer instruments, like 2 types of organ with same organ composition, and then compress it, I see you're using FL Studio with disable maximum polyphone. It makes it your own sample. Yeah, so that's kind of the argument. but unfortunately, you technically, so there's an argument to be made that like if you don't get caught, or like if they can't tell, then what's the difference? But technically it is still like this is a public facing YouTube channel, so I'm not going to do anything that's gonna I'm not going to do anything that's illegal or violates the terms. But even if you are transformative with something, the license agreement for things like, for example, this is Abbey Road 1. Because these samples that are in here belong to Abbey Road, they belong to Spitfire Audio, their license agreement completely prohibits using this to create a new sound to be distributed to someone else. I can edit it, I can layer it with other things, I can distort the heck out of it to the point that Spitfire Audio would never know that it originated or that it contains something from them, but it would still be against the terms. So yeah. License to Thrill. Pikmin. Yeah, Pikmin. I don't know what you mean by Pikmin, but yeah, Pikmin is great game. It's a derivative work which depends on the license. Yeah, and this is when that person commented, telling me basically that what I was suggesting was violating the terms of these agreements. I really looked at these agreements really closely because I have lots of these types of plugins and libraries. So I wanted to take a closer look and make sure. And upon taking a closer look at all of them, I learned, oh man, I don't want to spoil this because I'm re-editing the video to fix it. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys are here, I might as well spoil it. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. It turns out that the type of sampling that they use in video games isn't allowed. It's not allowed. Okay, it's allowed in terms of like using a sample CD and stuff like that. But the way that like, for example, Pokemon will record one note from a Roland JV1080, and then use that one note as its own standalone instrument in the game's files. Technically, that's against the license agreement because they're copying it rather than using it. It's a copy. I'm not wording it properly. I'm not public relations guy, but when I was doing my homework after taking down that video, I learned that almost all of these license agreements are very strongly prohibit that kind of use. And some of them even have the term video games in the things that they're prohibited. It doesn't mean that you can't use it to make music for a video game, but you can't use it as a video game asset. Isn't that mind-blowing? Blew my mind. So not only sound fonts are like video game sound fonts, that is. Specifically, I'm referring to sound fonts that are ripped from video games. They might be illegal solely on the grounds that the composers for those games copied the sounds illegally. However, you can make the argument that the reason that these companies like Roland and Korg and Casio, the reason that they don't do anything about that is because it actually kind of promotes them. When people hear their sounds being used in games, it's like, oh, hey, that's from the Roland JV1080. Let's get our hands on that. Or that's a great sound, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to figure out why my limiter is not limiting. I'm going to have to limit it even lower. Maybe I'm just, because it looks like it's clipping. What do you guys think? Does it seem like it's clipping? That's what I'm trying to do here. No, well, if it doesn't sound like it's clipping, then it's probably fine. Yeah, I don't want to dwell too much on this. Yeah, if you're looking for good, free, easy to use, high quality sound fonts, I'll plug you this. I'll plug you this one time for the duration of the stream. Saint Giga, your homemade sound fonts are great, very high quality, fantastic sound. Your sound fonts have a little bit of a different goal than mine do. I'm kind of specifically trying to emulate or like embody the sounds of like specific game systems. Like for example, there's some of you might have heard of Super Audio Cart. It's a contact library. It might be in other formats too, I'm not sure. But it's a contact library that is basically designed to sound like it's from the Super Nintendo without actually using anything officially from Super Nintendo. It just is designed to sound that way. But it's so overpriced. It's crazy. Like, why are you paying hundreds of dollars for sounds that, you know, that can be made very easily for free? And that's what I'm doing. Game Freak cutting corners, unthinkable. Well, it's not just Game Freak. It's everyone. Like almost the entirety of the Super Nintendo, a lot of original PlayStation, even some of PlayStation 2. What is the source of the string sounds in Earthbound? Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I could probably find that information. Vilsa Gunner, how do you get 4.3K subs so easy? Do I just make a doc video about my music? I genuinely don't know. This channel grew so much faster than I expected it to. I was just kind of doing a hobby thing of just video game music crossover stuff, and then this happened. So here we are. Anyway, let's get to a little sound design. I'm using the Vercillion Studios Vercillion. Oh geez, why am I now? Anyway, Vercillion. Remember that name, Vercillion. They have a ton of free orchestral samples. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start with violins. Great. I'll drop it in Edison. Hey, Roguro, welcome. Drew Doodle, now you're slaying. Yeah, thanks. I really didn't see this coming, but I'm very grateful. Yeah, I'm just I'm still kind of adjusting to it. And that's kind of the thing too, is like when you have a platform like I am beginning to have, it's really important that anything that you say publicly be, you know, accurate and decent. And that's why I took the video down, is because there's a lack of decency that I was unaware at the time of making it, but now that I'm aware of it, I can't leave it up in good conscience. So, Guardian Heaven, hello. Where did you get sound font collection? A lot of the sound fonts that I have, I either made myself or I extracted from games. There are also lots of websites. I don't even actually know if I can directly link you to these websites, but there are websites. If you Google the word sound font, you might be able to find something. I don't really know what the. I'm being extra cautious right now. Anyway, so let's grab these violins. It's a really nice violin sound. I'm going to just cut the beginning off of it, because what I'm going for today is I'm looking specifically to make Super Nintendo-esque sounds. Maybe a little Nintendo 64, somewhere in between. I'm going to declick. There we go. It's a pretty long sample. I don't need it that long. And then I'm going to just hit Control L. Barrowmonk. What about an Ocarina of Time? They use the native chant samples. Are those technically in legal use? Okay, so those are in... okay, wait. I want to be really careful about using the term legal because I'm not a legal professional. However, the way that they are used, the implementation is within, I believe, the terms of the sample CD that they came from. Yeah, the sample CDs do have an agreement where, like, you know, those samples, Koji Kondo was allowed to use those samples the way that he used them. However, he technically, quote unquote, reproduced them by copying the sound, the file, into a game. It would be different if it was like recorded, streamed audio, but because it's sequenced audio, he had to put the sample directly in the game files. So there's a potential violation of those terms there. But again, it's one of those things where, like, is anybody tracking that? Does anyone really care much? Seems like in those particular cases, no. Although I will say one thing about sample CDs as opposed to sample-based synthesizers is that most sample CDs actually have as part of their license agreement, that you have to credit them in the credits. So if you use a sound font that has, for some reason, a sound font extracted from a video game that has something from a sample library on it, you have to credit it in your notes, you know, on your release. It has to be in, you know, if it's on YouTube, it's got to go in the YouTube description. If it's on an album on Spotify, it has to go in the notes on Spotify. I mean, I can't speak to whether you legally own it or not, but if you use it, you have to credit it. And that's most 90s sample CDs. Oh my gosh, we're going on and on about this topic. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to bore you with this. It's a really complicated issue. Let's see. Totally get what you're saying, and that's information I really appreciate you sharing. I just want to add this. Ever since I started layering my instruments, I don't have any copyright issues. In fact, I don't even think the algorithm picks up the melody I did one track with only my Yamaha. And oh man, what a mess. Well, you're allowed to use, you know, if you own the synth or you own a license to use the synth, you can use it for making music as much as you want. I mean, that's the point of the license. But if you reproduce the sound and distribute it, then that's against the license. And it is still technically considered reproducing the sound if you edit the crap out of it. The question becomes, is it detectable? If it's not detectable, then, I mean, I guess who's going to know? But it's still, I'm not going to do it, is what I'm saying. I'm not going to do it. Detectable or not, I'm not doing it. It's just not a risk I'm willing to take. And I don't know. I'm not a shill for big companies, but even if it was me personally, I wouldn't be happy about it. So let's see. Yeah, so generally speaking, if I'm going to use, even if I'm using public domain samples or what have you, I'm still going to credit them. So there's no worry about that for me. Anyway, so we have this string sample. I set a loop. It's a pretty long loop point. I think I might actually shorten it to this. Yeah, that's good. I'll delete all this. And then what we need to do now is we need to go to Tools and convert right channel to mono. You could also do left channel. It's not really relevant which side you do, but condensing to mono will make it harder to loop. So now it's a mono sound. So now I have a sound that I want. I'm going to put it here, and let's play with it a little. So right now I'm just testing out the sound to make sure that I like it. That's pretty good. That's actually getting close to like a Link to the Past style sound. So the next little trick that I'm going to do, I'm going to clear this since I have this here. I'm going to put this EQ equalizer here. All right, looks good. Get rid of that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this at a really high note. Ta-da. And I'm once again going to shave off the beginning. Just like that. Declick. And now, if you look, you can kind of see how it's the same shape repeating over and over again. That's because that's what a loop looks like. So I'm going to set the loop right here, and then I just have to fine tune it to make sure that it's perfect. Sorry if this is terrible on your ears. I'll try to do it without listening. It didn't work. Doing it without listening didn't work. So sorry. There's a tiny little bit of an artifact there, but it doesn't matter that much. Sorry, catching up with chat. Do you have a Discord? Oh, yes. Yes, I do. I do indeed have a Discord. Let me get you the link. Linking. There you go. It's true. I become a computer musician and I don't make mistakes. I'm a good director. Nice. He will link it when he notices. I'm sorry. I'm really still like adjusting to like following a chat. Sorry. The caps helped though. All right. So now we have this. It's a very high-pitched sound, and I know that that's a little bit grating on the ears, but what we're going to do with this high-pitched sound is we're going to pitch it down. Now that I know you're like, but it was already pitched down. Why are you pitching it up just to pitch it down? Well, when you pitch it up and record that pitched up version and then pitch bend it down, you'll realize that the pitched up version has lost some of its fidelity. Hey. Now tell me that doesn't sound straight out of Super Nintendo. Yeah. And let's not forget that we got this from, where is it? From this. And that's it. That's the magic. So now I'm going to save this. Put it in processed and we'll call it SNES string. Pretty happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up this cool plugin that I love called Chip Synth SFC, which is it's not free, but it is a very affordable sampler that basically emulates the sound chip of the Super Nintendo. And so I'm going to load our sample into this plugin and then play it back, and it'll add some of that classic Super Nintendo texture to it. And where did I put that? Here we go, processed. SNES string. Oh, wait. Sorry, what am I thinking? You can't just drag and drop. You have to go into these here on the right, the browser. All right. So you can kind of hear the difference. So this is the actual sample itself, not using the Super Nintendo emulation. And this is using the emulation. See how it muffles it a little bit? That's what we want. That muffled sound is like the classic sound of Super Nintendo. So now that it's in here, I'm going to record another key press. Do this. Now I just have to figure out where I put that loop point. I'm pretty sure it's right here. There we go. I'll just put that there and hope for the best. I'm hoping for the best here. I'm really not being thorough. There we go. That's great. I love it. So now I'm just going to save right over that. And as per usual, I usually just cut off the beginning and then do D-click in. I like to have a really fast attack. I like it to just go boom. That way, when I put it in the sound font, I can control how much attack it really ends up having. So I'm just going to save right over that SNES string. Failed saving. Oh, right, because it's in use. Right, so sorry. We'll just call it number 2 for now. Great. Sorry, catching up with chat again. I'm very slow on these kinds of things. I will get better. Does this mean you'll be doing Twilight Princess in A Link to the Past sound font? Maybe. Might be a little busy. Not me. I mean, the music itself might be a little busy. There's not a lot of Super Nintendo music that has that many instruments playing at once. The Chip Synth MD is nice too. Oh, sorry. Drew Doodle. If you added a bunch of vibrato, it'd match Yoshi's Island. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Well, since we have a nice clean version of this sound, we can add vibrato anytime we want. We could even have more than one patch. The Chip Synth MD is nice too. I haven't actually used that one. It's still not a DX7. Okay. I didn't realize that it was just supposed to be a DX7 or emulating it maybe. Okay, so now that I have this sample, I'm going to just turn off my, disable my MIDI device from in here so that it doesn't get locked. And I'm going to open Polyphone, or I'm going to try to, because it only seems to want to open half the time. All right. Now I'm going to find the sample, and I'm going to just drop it right into samples here. Ta-da. Click this to make this an instrument, and we'll just call it String Ensemble. This is the first instrument in my SNES inspired thing. And what's great about this is that it sounds so clearly Super Nintendo, but I'm not using any samples from anyone that, you know, didn't give me permission to use them this way or something, you know. So now we have this, and I'm going to add a little release to it. That sounds great. I think I'll add the slightest attack. That's not very slight. That's good. No, still too, yeah, that's good. Okay, so we got our string ensemble here. And now I'm just going to duplicate this. And I'm going to make the attack longer. And I'll call it slow string. This doesn't necessarily have to be the final slow string patch. I'll probably make another one with different texture later, but for the moment, this is what we got. All right, so let's call this SFG SNES. There we just started the Super Nintendo sound font, our very own Super Nintendo sound font. Does anybody have any thoughts on which instrument to try next? Could do anything. I'm actually gonna, I don't know if my, what do you call it? The like OBS's built-in chat monitoring thing. I don't know if it's working super well. SNES, wahoo! Brass. Oh, brass. Okay. Brass it is. Let's do it. Do a funny electric guitar. All right. We'll do brass. Since brass and trumpet are kind of in the same category, we'll do brass first, and then we'll do an electric guitar. I actually have an electric guitar here that I will plug in, and we can hear how terrible I am at playing it, and we can turn that into something. All right, let's brass it up. Samples, public domain, probably in here. There we go, brass. So it looks like these are, what's the word I'm looking for? These are just solo instruments. I guess that'll do. You should add a chat bot that says the comments. You're right, I should. I don't actually know very much about that stuff, so I have to, I'll have to practice my, my bot knowledge. It took me forever just to figure out how to get a bot into, Discord. Milan Saunders, g'day from Australia, Sound Funk Guy. Hello, welcome. I recognize you. I think I've seen you in the comments. I'll just do a generic loop there. The loop on this individual instrument doesn't matter that much because it's all going to get lost in the mix. There's that. I'm also going to just add FL keys real quick because I'm going to use that to find our middle C. And I'm probably going to need to turn this back on. There we go. There we go. And the thing is, we can use as many of these as we want because they all have slightly different timbres, so we don't have to worry about phasing. There we go. Good enough for me. We just gotta... You're probably wondering, why am I using such low notes and then pitching them up to middle C? And the answer to that is, I have no idea. It's just fun. Great. Now let's try the trumpet. Well, the trumpet has has two at middle C, so we're going to use both of them. I love how the like auto loop function really likes to blend things in a funny way. I like the sound of it. Great. So we've got sounds like C3 to me. Wonderful. I should have done this a little more strategically. I'm making a pixel art thumbnail you can use in your live streams. Oh, that's cool. I love pixel art. Brass sounds more like a viola here. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. Once again. See, now I'm layering a bunch of these together because I want a full brass sound. You can see how doing the auto loop totally changes the oh my gosh, what's happening? The polarity, the phase. One more. All right, let's grab some trombone now. And I don't want the part where it's growing. I just want the beefy middle part. Can really make some interesting sounds just from messing with that. But that's not the purpose of this exercise. Now the issue that I'm running into is that they all sound just ever so slightly different in pitch, which is okay. It's probably better than being exactly the same, because if they're exactly the same, then they'll just cancel each other out. But I do want to make sure that it doesn't sound like out of key. So now I'll do this. I'll just add one of these to each of these and let them play together and see how it sounds. Well, I like it, but I don't think it quite sounds as full as I would like it to. Let's see. I don't know if just simply adding more samples is gonna fix that. So I'm just gonna add one more, and then we'll start messing with some other functions. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put this here and going to assign these to a mixer track, and they're all going to share one mixer track. And I'm going to try something. I've never actually done this before, so we're going to discover this together. I'm basically going to attempt to create a transient here, which is where it's loud for the first like millisecond, and then it's not a very good explanation of what a transient is, but it'll be loud for the first millisecond there, and then it'll be closer to the middle for the rest. Doesn't sound as good as I'd hoped. No, this was a terrible idea. Well, if it wasn't a terrible idea, then maybe it was just, maybe I'm just not well practiced in this. I mean, one option would be to, this is tough. So because it's going to end up in mono, it's like, what's the point of panning anything? But let's try panning it and see if that... Let's try this spreader. This thing is like magic. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to once again add the equalizer, and I'm going to use it to cut out the frequencies I don't want, and then we're going to record just this sound. There, we did it. Now I will take this. I will auto loop it. I'm going to put it in here. We don't need these anymore. So I'm going to leave the samples there just in case we want to change something. I don't want to ruin everything. But now octaves might help. Chat, my gosh. Can you bring the high down and the lows up? Oh, I see what I know what you're referring to. Sorry, I kind of like ran right past that idea, that point in the thing. True Doodle, me adding wah pedal. Why did I think doing online Mario Kart 8 at 4:30 in the morning was a good idea? Why not? Imagining how that would sound with a deep purple organ. Who knows? Let's put this in number 1 now. Okay. Brass it up. Another D-click. Another auto loop. Now we'll just do this. That's not the right one. Sorry. Excuse me. Now we'll do this. Wonder if I did that right. Do one of these. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. Okay. $24. Let's test it out. All right, gotta add a little, just the slightest attack. Sounding a bit like an organ. I don't know. What do we think of that? It's not quite as like big brass as I would like it to be. I think if I'm going to do a big brass, I might have to spend a little more time on it. But I like this sound. It's kind of cool. It's almost like it's got a fanfare sort of like, you did it. Something like that. Nick Knight, welcome. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that. I really like it. So let's put this in our process and we'll call it SNES Trumpet Ensemble. I don't want to call it brass, but I also don't want to just call it trumpet. All right, so now we'll add chip synth. And we'll get our beautiful, beautiful sound. I'm quite happy with how that turned out. Okay. It's not right. Where did I put that loop point? I'll just make one. Kind of cheating a little bit. Dude, I like it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really just kind of screwing around here. All right, I am now going to disable my MIDI device again so that I can open Polyphone without stress. I like how every time you click the auto loop, it powers down from. Yo, that's one of my favorite things. I don't know why. How it just kind of goes like. It's a really it's a cool effect. I don't even know why they added that, but it definitely breaks up some of the monotony. All right, we got this trumpet now. I've got Polyphone open for those of you who aren't familiar. It's a sound font editing software, 100% free to use. I got my trumpet ensemble here. I'm going to click this to create an instrument. Going to add a little bit of a release. The slightest bit of attack just so that it doesn't. That's too it's too long. There, that does it. And now I'm going to click these little musical notes here to add a preset. The preset is what you actually use. The instrument, if you just have instruments and no presets, most software isn't going to let you use it. It's just going to look blank. Cool. All right, so the SFG SNES sound font has officially begun. We now have 2.5 instruments, and the next thing on the list is what's the next thing on the list? Somebody remind me. Guitar? Was it a guitar? I think it was a guitar. Fairly sure it was a guitar. Start a new project here. Now, the only thing that I'm not sure how to go about doing is, so I have to use a different audio device to record. I'm sorry, I have to use it. So I use Voicemeeter, which is a software that is for like an audio mixing thing. But my line in, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm not going to stress about it. It's no biggie, right? Right? It's no biggie, right? Funny electric guitar. Okay, great. All right, let's see. Oh, no, I don't need to hear myself twice. All right, so my interface is plugged in. Give me just a sec while I grab this guitar. Sorry, did we want acoustic or electric? I have both. I'm up for either one. I mean, let me just I'll just keep both nearby. Boy, they kept it closer. Here we go. Now I've got both. Electric? Okay, yeah, funny electric. You said electric. Okay, funny electric. Here it comes. All right, so the fun part is going to be that the guitar is going to be plugged into the same interface that this microphone is plugged into, so it's going to go straight to you guys. Meaning the guitar will come right through. And it will not be mixed well at all. Hopefully it doesn't blow out your ears. Oh no. I'm gonna mute this real quick while I plug it in, because I don't want it to explode. Okay, here we are. I assume you guys can hear that, and I imagine it does not sound great. You should make yourself echo again. No, please no, because then I have to hear my voice. Speaking of guitars, I've tried finding obscure sample packs like Bizarre Guitar or Distorted Reality with those weird otherworldly sounds, but not the overplayed ones. Let's make some. I would love to make some. That'd be a fun, oh no. All right, if I'm going to record this guitar, I can't talk at the same time. So please do Sonic Advance 2 soundtrack in the Sonic Mania sound font, please. That's, not sure how to answer that. I think that might be a complicated question to answer. I'll have to think on that one and get back to you, because I don't know that Sonic Mania has a sound font so much as it just uses yeah, anyway, sorry. I'm sorry, I can't quite fill a request in this moment. Let's see, did I read this one already? What if you combine them? Clean acoustic transient that escalates into electric style overdrive. It's not a bad idea at all. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to record a couple of strings, and I'm going to have to shut my mouth for a minute while I do that. You know something? I have the strangest feeling like all right, I know it's a little underwhelming just listening to a couple of boring guitar sounds. All right, I'm going to turn that off and turn this on. Very noisy, isn't it? That's all right. I'm going to do this slightly differently. I'm going to change the device here, and I'm going to do it this way. This should work better. My favorite video game sound fonts, Mega Man X4, Pokemon Coliseum, and XD. Great choices. There we go. Now I see. Let's go, let's go. I know you guys can hear that. Sorry if it's oops. All right. So basically the purpose of this is just to get us all a nice wide range of notes. And I can reuse these. Quiet. I can reuse these anytime for anything. I hope someday in your spare time you can have Mega Man Battle Network 1 soundtrack in Mega Man Network Transmission for GameCube sound font. Yeah, I mean, that would be a great idea. I'm not sure. Is there a Mega Man Network Transmission sound font in existence currently? Just putting this guitar down. All right. So we have these notes recorded, which is great. Because now we can do whatever we want with them. So I'm going to save them into... Where do I want to put them? I guess I could just call them organic, right? Elec guitar. Because we can do anything with these. If we just record nice, clean guitar sounds like we've done here. Yeah, nice, clean guitar sounds. We can always distort them in the software or overdrive them or a chorus or whatever we want to do. So now that we have that saved, let's just pick one out. I do like this one. What about this one? I think I like this one more. All right, let's snatch this one. Usually it's not too hard to find a loop point for instruments like this. Wow, think of all the samples that we've made today that are not copyright. I mean, I guess technically they're copyright protected for me, but I don't care. bit of a buzz in there, huh? Let's put it here and try. All right. I always turn off my MIDI device and forget to turn it back on. Here we go. I'd love to be able to play this piano a little better for you guys, but the latency is really bad because I'm using voice meter. All right, we've got a sample that I'm happy with. I'm going to try checking this situation. Shh, it's okay. All right, now I'm just going to record. Well, actually, should we? Yeah, I'll record that so we have a nice, simple, clean guitar sound. The Roland Phantom and the Edirol SD90 have the best sounding guitar samples I ever used. They fit 85% of the time. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can match their quality. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have. And we'll see where that gets us. Just fixing this loop point once more. Great. We've got our guitar sound. It's a pretty simple, basic electric guitar, but I don't know that we need any more than that at just this moment. Basic elect guitar. You could try feeding it into Guitar Rig if you have that. I don't have it installed, but I do have this thing here from Cakewalk. At least I think it's from Cakewalk. No, wait, I didn't put it in the right place. Sorry. THU, I guess it's called THU. I don't really know what else you'd call it. We got metal. Brutal metal. Let's see. Metalcore. I think I kind of want to start with something clean, and then we can try adding, maybe not fully clean. See if we can find a good chorus. I'm not super well versed in guitar stuff. Let's see. That's a little too... I'm kind of looking for something like... Unfortunately, we don't want any reverb because that just won't come through in a sound font. Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty good. What about this one? I think I'm going to stick with this one. This has been recording the whole time. I didn't realize it. Oops. This is a pretty lengthy loop cycle here. And we just have to find where it loops the most perfectly. Let's try this. I'm never really sure if what I'm doing is going to work or not. And it worked. You love to see it. Get rid of this silence at the beginning here. The low notes sound badass. Yeah. Doom is going to steal the metal guitar. Is there a bit crusher in there by chance? I'm not currently using one, but I will be. Is there one in this flow here? No. Yeah, there isn't currently one in here, but there will be one applied to this by the end. Because you kind of have to have a little bit crushing for it to fit that Super Nintendo vibe, right? All right, I'll close that. And then I'm going to put this here. And we'll do this again. And I just have to once more find the loop point, which it's not as hard as I make it sound. I'm just dramatic. And the loop point doesn't have to be the same every time, as long as it loops. See? All right. Now we have this, which we will affectionately call SNES elec guitar. No, it's too long. SNES EGIT. There we go. Love it. All right. Now let's put it in our sound font. Open up Polyphone. Polyphone. There it is. And samples. We'll drop this right in there. I forgot to save it as mono instead of stereo, but that's okay. Oh, you know what? I skipped a whole step, didn't I? Delete that. Forget everything. Don't save. Forget it. Gotta do the chip synth part. How could I forget that? That's goofy. Gotta turn our MIDI device back on real quick. All right. Chip synth SFC, for those of you who are not, who are watching and aren't familiar with it, is a relatively inexpensive Super Nintendo sound chip emulator. You just load up a sample into it and it plays back with that classic, beautiful Super Nintendo charm. This is a stock sound that comes with it, by the way. Did you ever hear a more Super Nintendo sound in your life? That's just Link to the Past, right? Anyway, let's do this guitar. Now we're bit crushing it ever so slightly. Oh, sorry. Let me swing back. Kami Killer 3000. Edison is goated. Agreed. Guardian Heaven. Are you interested about PlayStation 1 fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken? Yes, absolutely. Love them. I'm gonna go ahead and be that guy as the video game music enthusiast that I am and say that Street Fighter and Tekken, particularly on the PlayStation, love the music. Tekken in particular, that CD audio, oh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, let's see. If you use the program XGEdit95 and use the amplitude envelope generator graph and change the third to last as -8 and the last as 28, it makes your instruments more organic. That's how I get MIDI guitars to sing. Oh, cool. That's something that I'll look into when I'm trying to make something sound more organic. This is kind of like the intent of this is to sound old school video gamey. So realism isn't really the goal. This is so cool. Is that the thing from the Sforzando people? Yes, it is. Same Plogue, I believe they're called. Plogue. E-git, lol. Sorry, that's just a funny abbreviation. Yeah, it is. All right. Now I just have to do this one more time. Huh. I'm looking at the waveform and it looks funny. Okay, sure. Here. And here. There is a slight pop in there. What did I do wrong, I wonder? Can we find a fix for that? I think we can. Let's just bring this over here. I'm sure it'll be fine. Not a big deal, right? Put that there. Look at that. Magic. Okay. Do that, and then we will save this. Now we can put it in our sound font. Pop open the sound font situation, Polyphone, assuming it wants to. I don't know if it's my PC or what, but Polyphone seems to not want to open sometimes. I'll just click it and it just won't do anything. And then other times it does without a hitch. I'm not sure what's up with that. All right, samples. SNES E-Git. Create an instrument. Should double check. Oh, you know what? I don't even need to. Everything's fine. All right, here's our electric guitar. Now we gotta set up the ADSR so that it actually sounds like a guitar and doesn't just sustain forever. Might be too long. Let's try 7. Okay, and now we're cooking. It's magic. Ooh, with whimsy. If that's a reference to something, I'm not familiar. All right, let's turn our MIDI device back on. And, well, now we have 3 instruments. Let's just mess around a little bit and see if we can have some fun with them. SFG, SNES. I really like how this string ensemble turned out. Slow string is just the same thing with a slower attack. Trumpet ensemble. For some reason, I associate SF2s with the color blue. You know what? Me too. And I think it's because so Fruity Sound Font Player it's definitely gray, but it has a bluishness to it. Polyphone also, it's white, but it has like blue trim. The other popular sound font player for DAWs is Juicy, which, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of a bluish gray, right? We're kind of cheating here a little bit because even these samples, as truncated and bit crushed as they are, they're still pretty long. They're still a lot longer than a proper Super Nintendo sample would be. I wonder what we should do now. I have a bunch of, maybe not a bunch, I have like a handful of instruments that I recorded. Got this nylon guitar. It's like an old broken guitar that I just have laying around that needs to be repaired, but I recorded some notes on it anyway. Yeah, we're going to do this one. I like it. It half was, half wasn't a reference. Oh, okay. I assumed that the first half was a reference to the song. You get the nostalgic sound without the actually technical drawbacks. Then yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I like that the point is that the sound is right. It's like when people argue over whether something is music or not. It's like, I mean, music is music as far as you think it is. I'm not going to get philosophical right now, sorry. Oh yeah, now that sounds like Super Nintendo already, if you ask me. Let's play it. Is there an easy way to convert SF2 to NKI? Yes, there is. There's a software right here called Extreme Sample Converter 3. I'll bust it open and show you. So basically, you have your browser here on the left. You can grab any SF2 that you have. Source format, you choose the format that your file is currently in. So if you have an NKI, you can turn it into a sound font. Emu Proteus, look at all these great Akai, DLS for those of you who use that, SFZ, everybody loves SFZ, right? Yeah, so I'm going to convert from sound font, we'll do the pasta pad, and then destination format, just choose NKI, contact. I use Optimal. That doesn't mean you have to use that, but I use Optimal because I like the way it converts. And then I just hit convert, and then you choose where you want it to save to, and then it'll just save my sound file as an NKI right there. that's got such a distinctive SNES feel. It's such a small sample. I'm doing it. I'm going to save it just as it is. SNES Nygit. Nylon. SNES nylon. That's good enough. We know what it's referring to. Now we'll just run that same nylon guitar through this lovely plugin. Super awesome. Wow, good heads up on Extreme Sample Converter. I appreciate that. Heck yeah. SF2 files? Dude, I love Street Fighter 2. Yeah. I'm more into the SFA files myself, Street Fighter Alpha. If you know, you know. All right, now I'm just going to record this note. Look at the length of that. I held that down for less than a second. Beautiful. Wow, it took no time at all to make this one. Very simple. Save, SNES Nylon 2. You could turn that into a harp pretty easy, I think. Yeah, I think you're right, which is great because I don't actually have a real live harp. This could be, honestly, it could be both. You said it. I assume you're referring to Street Fighter Alpha. Pardon me, I need a sip of this water. All right, so we've got a nylon guitar. Any suggestions on which instrument to add to our SNES font yet? I said yet, I meant to say next. All right, I'm finally done with the thumbnail, which is why I haven't been talking much. I'll send it to you on Disco. Cool. Taking any suggestions for bongos. Bongos, eh? Well, great news. I do have some bongos. Let me get those bongos real quick. Turn this on, turn the mic on. I'm going to mute that so that I can't hear it until after it's recorded. All right, now admittedly, these aren't the nicest bongos in the world, but they are real. Should be easy enough to do this. Oops, I hit the mic. That ought to do it. Maybe choir or pizzicato string. Oh yeah, we could definitely do those. The choir might be tough because I would have to. I'm not sure where I would source enough vocal samples to do a choir. I guess I could layer my own voice a bunch of times. We could do like a community choir if everybody wants to send a clip of themselves just singing one note. That would be funny. right, let me see. This is going to need probably to be clipped a little. Oops, I hit the mic. Oh, geez, I don't want to hear that. A bit off, but I saw Drew Doodle. I'm reading chat. Reading chat. A bit off, but I saw Drew Doodle mention the harp, and I found a lady recently that does VGM with harp, but she has harp pedals like distortion, etc. Never seen that before. I think I've seen who you're talking about. You have a very relaxing voice, by the way. Have you ever considered making a Vox sound font with your voice? So, thank you for the compliment. I'm actually super self-conscious about my voice, which you wouldn't imagine from the fact that I'm streaming right now. I do have this one here called Sexy Voice, which is me. I only called it that ironically. That's actually me. Woodwinds? Yeah, woodwinds are definitely on the list. The nice thing about woodwinds is that they're really easy to make. You can make convincing woodwinds with a synthesizer without ever having to record a real woodwind. And even if you recorded a real woodwind, which I have a handful of them here I could record, not traditional ones, they're more like ethnic and world flutes, things like that. But a lot of woodwind sounds can be made with a synthesizer, and the ones that can't, I'm sure we could find. Classic Namco sound fonts is awesome as Pac-Man. I don't know if I know any Namco sound fonts. I'd like to hear some. Hitting the mic by accident, boy, that's a pain as a voice actor. Oh, geez, I can only imagine. There was a time when I wanted to be a voice actor, and then I learned that you have to know how to act, and I said, forget it. I don't love the way this sound turned out. It's kind of like, why does it sound like that? I think the Sexy Voice sound font has a lot of character to it. Yeah, I mean, it's just my voice with some like minor effects, like it's auto-tuned and it has like a fake loop point, because obviously my voice doesn't go on forever. Thank goodness. I'm going to try re-recording those bongos from greater distance away, because I think that being too close to the mic made an issue. Oh, you know what else might be an issue? Oh, geez. I'm making all the mistakes now. I'm so sorry. It's because I have my microphone going through Discord before it comes to FL. So I'm going to reverse that. Now I'll try this. Good enough. Okay. I wish you guys could have seen that, because I was just using my face to mute one of them. I was holding the bongos with one hand, hitting them with the other hand, and then using my face to mute whichever bongo I wasn't using. Kind of silly. Okay, reverting back to this. Cool. I'm happy with those. All right, I think I like... Yeah. Bye, Guardian Heaven. Thanks for joining. Have a great day. Bongo, 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 bongo. There we go. All right. Muting the bongos like a violin under the chin. Yeah, literally just like that. Except instead of my chin, I was using my cheek. This is a lot of tedious stuff here. Sorry, this part isn't super entertaining. All right. Call this bongo, because that is what it is. All right. Now, what am I going to do next here? You know, I feel like that transient is still way too hefty. There we go. That I'm satisfied with. Cheek has more padding, though it depends on the amount of chins one has. I think I only have one chin, personally. But no shame to anybody who has more than one. I don't... as many as it takes, right? All right. We've got a good bongo. Now we just have to... Wait, is that right? Yeah, it's right. Okay. Put this here. Put that there. Actually, we don't even need to do that. Do we? Do we need to do that? No. Here's what I'll do. I'm just gonna... Yeah. Nice. All right, saving this one more time as bongo. And then I'm gonna put it here. And then I'm going to record it at like 2 octaves higher, which would probably work if it was in here instead of there. Great. All right. Now, I'm going to do this slightly differently this time and put it back in here. And then play it again, but 2 octaves lower. Back to the pitch that it was, but as you can see or hear, it has lost some fidelity. Save that again. We'll call it SNES Bongo. We'll open our beautiful, wonderful chip synth SFC. Will you use my thumbnail? I'll have to see it and make sure that it's like appropriate. As long as it's like not like offensive or anything, I'll definitely use it. In fact, if anybody wants to make like whether it's like jokey or serious, it can be cool or dumb or fun. If you want to make a thumbnail for my lives, I can just like cycle through them and show off a new thumbnail and shout out whoever made it on each stream. I don't care how bad it is, as long as it's not offensive. Like, you can paint a masterpiece, or you can MS Paint, or I don't care what you do. It would definitely be cool to show off people's stuff like that if that's what you guys are into. All right, let's put our bongos in chip synth. SNES Bongo. That and wait. Let me make sure. Yeah, we're going to do a slightly different pitch than we recorded at. Yeah, we're going to do it a little higher. We're going to do it like right here. Cool. SNES Bongo A. We're going to just do A through C since there's 3 of them. SNES Bongo. Come on. B. I am the king of being early. Yes, you are. You show up to my streams before they're even started. Let's see. This one. That one you can hear the room tone, but that's all right. No big deal. All right, save that. SNES Bongo C. Nice. Okay. Favorite soundtrack that uses a sound font and favorite that doesn't. Oh, that's tough. My favorite soundtrack that uses a sound font. Whew. I mean, it's no secret to anybody who knows me at this point that my favorite types of like sound font soundtracks mostly come from from PlayStation and Nintendo 64. Obviously, Super Nintendo is one of the greats, but just my personal preference, my personal taste is PS1 and Nintendo 64. In terms of favorite soundtrack, I think Chrono Cross is definitely a strong contender for me. That uses a sound font. It uses sampled instruments so well that you would never know that it's sequenced. I mean, okay, it's not perfect, but it's so good. It's like so convincing that a lot of those tracks just sound like straight up CD audio, but they're actually sequenced. And favorite soundtrack that doesn't, that's tough. I might have to think about that one, because that's a much broader question, because there's so many soundtracks, you know? It's like a million soundtracks out there. Yeah, I'll think on that and get back to you. But probably Chrono Cross. If not Chrono Cross, then any of the PS1 Final Fantasy titles. Oh, you know what? You know, it's another really good sequenced, like sound font style soundtrack from that era. Brave Fencer Musashi. Composed by Tsuyoshi Sekito, one of my favorite composers of all time. Really, really fantastic music. Like, made the absolute best of that kind of music. All right, let me disable MIDI once more. Jump into Polyphone. SFG, SNES. Put our samples in here, as you do. All right, Bongo A is going to be here. What did I just do? A, B, and... Oh, no, I did it wrong. I did it wrong. I meant A, B, and C, and I took the wrong ones. Wait, did I save a C? Where's C? What happened to C? Yeah, it's right here. Oh, there it is. Dingus. All right. Trying that again. A, B, and C. Turn off the looping because we don't need it to loop. This will probably be part of a larger, like, full drum kit at some point, but for now, we'll just put it in here as Bongo. What did I do? What happened? I probably just tried to save over it. There we go. I want to know what samples they used for Zero Gunner 2 on Dreamcast. Good question. We could probably find that out. If you're in the Discord, you can drop questions like that in there, and I can always do some digging, or I can help you, like, find out where to look for that kind of stuff. Drew Doodle, basically any Square Enix soundtrack would be answer for both. Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to, like, I can't. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. Interesting fact, the Dreamcast uses XG level 3, so technically an MU1000 or 2000 without the samples. That's not including its other features. Say more. I'm interested. We don't need this. Oh, right, I forgot to close this. Whoopsie. Oh, you know what we never did? Totally slipped my mind. Never put the nylon guitar in the sound font. Got to do that. I wonder if it would be a cool idea to put like an ambient pad, like a SNES styled ambient pad in the SNES sound font. Could be fun. I do love doing ambient pads. They're one of my favorite types of things to design. And with the added limitation of not being able to use any like mainstream plugins to make it would really stoke creativity, I think. Gotta name this something better. Nylon guitar. There we go. Wow. Save. Really feeling happy with how this is coming along. It definitely has some extra steps that you have to take as compared to other styles of like sequenced music, other sound font styles. Like the PlayStation, for example, didn't have the PlayStation 1. It really didn't have the same like space or RAM limitations. I mean, it clearly had limitations, but not nearly in the same way that the SNES did. So you can have much, mainly because of the storage size, you could have much bigger samples and much more realistic, full sounding samples. So they're a lot easier. It's a lot easier to make a sound font that sounds like PlayStation because you don't have to do much doctoring. But for SNES, it's a little more challenging. There's extra, you really have to squash everything. You mentioned Brave Fencer Musashi the other day, if I recall correctly. Shout out to the Steam Night track. I put it in a top 100 VGM list of mine a while back. Steam Night is a fantastic track. That whole soundtrack really works wonders. I actually made a Brave Fencer Musashi sound font like 10 years ago, long before we had the types of software that we have now. We had there was a program called P Sound that could convert all of the audio files on a PlayStation disc to WAV, but they weren't named. They were just like sound 1, sound 2, sound 3. So I went through every single audio file on the entire Brave Fencer Musashi disc and took all of the ones that were instrument sounds and turned them into sound fonts. Yeah, the PS1 SPU was sick, plus that reverb. It was like shimmering reverb before the Kronos. I know the SNES uses a Gaussian filter. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because there's I use a plugin, a free plugin called PSX Reverb that perfectly emulates the reverb of the PlayStation. This is going to sound weird because it's PlayStation Reverb with SNES instruments, but yeah, you'll get the idea. I'm clipping everything to death. Check it out. Check out the hall. I'm sure by now that everybody who likes to do like old school video game style music or any kind of retro inspired music knows about Shirobon's PlayStation reverb. And I'll tell you what, his PlayStation reverb is great. But I personally prefer this. I think it sounds more one-to-one to the original. I do have some impulse responses for anybody who uses convolution reverb. I have a bunch of PS2 ones that I recorded from a PS2. And also a bunch from PS1. And some that I recorded in real places. Paulo, hi, where do you get all these sound fonts? I make them. I make most of them. That's kind of the purpose of today's stream is like I'm creating a sound font. As you can see, we've got one right here that has a handful of instruments in it right now that I made entirely myself. No copyright infringement. One thing we should do really quick is we should open this up and we should put in the comments. We should name some of our sources. Brazilian? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Brazilian Studios, VSCO Community Sound Library. I keep doing that. I gotta stop doing that. There we go. Yeah, it was strings, brass, right? Strings and brass. There we go. All right. All right, I think I've got maybe one more in me. I could do one more instrument. Taking requests. You sampled them or you created them entirely? Okay, so that's a great question. Let me just show you really quickly what we did. So this one here, these strings, they're sampled from Vercillion Studios, which is the Vercillion Studios Community Sound Library, which is 100% free with a Creative Commons license, which means that that's the only copyright is that it's is that it be credited. That's it, and it's credited. However, some of these are like the bongo. That's a real bongo that I recorded in my home. The electric guitar is my actual real guitar. This nylon guitar is my real nylon guitar. So I'm only using stuff that's 100% free. So I am sampling some, I am like borrowing samples from existing libraries, but only libraries that are 100% free. Sorry, going back to what Milan Saunders said, Brave Fencer Musashi, I believe, was one of Steve Blum's first video game roles. Yeah, it definitely was. Alongside, was it Dragon Ball GT Final Bout where he played Goku. It was pretty funny. A boing sound like a spring? I don't think I have a sound like that. I could maybe try to make one. Off topic a little, but I really enjoyed talking with you about Link's Awakening the other day. I'm polishing a review script for it today. Oh, nice. Yeah, Link's Awakening, something special about that game. Technically, like, that game is before my time. That game was out for like years before I was born, I think. Let me double check. Link to the Past release. Okay, I was just born. So it came out before I was, like, a while before I was old enough to play video games or to, like, understand what was happening. Pan flute? Say no more. I definitely have, sorry, I'm reading chat in my head and not speaking it out loud. I'm so sorry. I haven't quite nailed the whole streaming etiquette yet. Pan flute. Yes, I have a pan flute. I own a pan flute, and I actually have recorded some samples from it, or at least one. Yeah, look at that. Pan flute right there. I recorded one note, but one note is all you need. Dude, that's awesome. What's the sauce behind those sounds? You downsample them, bit crush, or just sending them through a sampler? Another great question. So I do a kind of roundabout downsampling. I'm actually just about to do it right now. So if you want to stick around, I'm about to start one right now. So this is a pan flute that I recorded. I actually have. Actually, one sec. Sorry, I'm here. I'm back. All right. Fair warning, face reveal incoming. I mean, that's not the purpose of what I'm about to do. I just want to show you the pan flute. But anyway, here it is. I pressed the wrong button. I'm so sorry. Here's the pan flute. Pretty cool. It's Peruvian. I have a lot of traditional Peruvian instruments. I'm not Peruvian. I just really like South American, like pre-colonialism stuff, like traditional, like ethnic and world music from South America in particular. Anyway, so here's the pan flute. This is the sample that I recorded from it. So now I'll just cut the beginning off of it. And let's just highlight a nice big area here. And I gotta tell you, I don't like any of that loop. Let's... All right, let's just take a tiny little chunk out of the middle and do this. Who's gonna stop us? Oh, that's sick. You're correct regarding GT Final Bout. Nice. I'm glad. I thought maybe it might be Ultimate Battle 22. which is why I wasn't sure. I'm not sold on that loop point. I want to hear the breath in the pan flute, you know? Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I think so too. I'm really glad that I got my hands on it. I also have some other cool instruments too that I would love to turn into stuff. No, that sounds terrible. This is tough because I want to get the breath sound in there, but I also don't want it to get distorted. I got to change the theme. The gray is grating on my eyes. Sorry. I mean, this could be, hold on. This could be something, right? Let's just put it here. I mean, why not? Honestly, that might be good enough for me. Maybe add a separate breath sounds later. That's not a bad idea. Although this sample is already pretty breathy. I think that sounds pretty good. All right, I'm just going to take this as it is. So I just dropped the sample in here. And I'll often just play with it to make sure that it sounds it already has a pretty Super Nintendo vibe to it, but we're gonna amp that up even further. One thing I want to be sure of with this, since it's an organic instrument as opposed to like a sample that we downloaded, I want to make absolutely sure that it's in tune. So I'm gonna drop it here, pretty small, and then pitch correct, just to check. And it looks like it's in tune. It's a B. And it's a pretty darn centered B. That's great. Well, that's all I needed to know. So at its current normal, that's what it sounds like. So my way of sort of downsampling is, I guess it's not technically downsampling in technical terms, but it's more or less the same thing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play the note 2 octaves higher. Like so. And then I'm going to identify where the loop point is, which I will have to do probably so many. Sorry that this is so high-pitched. It might be just a second before I find the perfect spot where it loops. Those artifacts are awful, aren't they? There, that's good. All right, so we have our loop point. Right? Now I'm going to save this, and as with so many of the others, I'm going to call it SNES Pan Flute. And then, I'm not a sound font guy, I'm a sound font man. You can call me sound font kid if you want, I don't mind. Why do I imagine you playing the pan flute when you originally recorded it with an absolute stoic expression? I probably did. All right, so this is saved. Now this is where the I don't want to say where the magic happens, but this really does like put the icing on the cake for making something sound Super Nintendo. So we've pitched this sample up by 2 octaves so that now if we play it down 2 octaves, look, I'll bring this to 24, pitch it down. Now it has lost a lot of its fidelity. See? And just to show you the comparison. Oh, wait, I messed up. You hear how this this original sample, you can hear more in the high end. The breath is a little more sharp and crisp. And then in this down-sampled version, we've lost some fidelity in the high end. See? So now that we've got that, we're much closer to where we want to be. Now, this is the thing that really seals the deal. It's not just about having a down-sampled sample. It's not just about having a tiny loop point. It's really about this plugin right here, ChipSynth SFC. It emulates the sound chip of the Super Nintendo. So I'm just going to take the sample that we just made and put it in here. And luckily it remembers it identifies where my loop point is embedded in the file. And now I'm just gonna record this plugin playing a note from our new sample. And as per usual, I have to do the the fun thing of figuring out where the loop point is again. There's probably an easier way to do that part, and I just haven't identified that yet. Looks like here and here. That seems right. I'm so sorry about the artifact popping sound. There it is. There's our loop point, folks. Now we're going to save this as SNES Pan Flute 2. Oh, here's a weird suggestion. Maybe a theremin. It's not as weird as it could be. If we can find, so I don't own a theremin myself, so I can't sample it. However, if you know where we can get a public domain theremin sample, we could definitely do something. Or we could attempt to synthesize one. All right, so now I've got that sample that is as Super Nintendo as it can possibly get. How do you find the loop point? Great question. So loop points are going to be different depending on the sample that you're using, and it's also going to differ depending on what style you're going for. Generally speaking, in Super Nintendo style stuff, it's one cycle of a waveform, meaning it would be all the way over here, like this. See how it just completes? It's like I'm pointing at the screen. You can't see what I'm pointing at. I'm sorry. It's just the shape one time. See how it goes up and then down and then up and then down? The whole length of the shape would be one cycle of a loop. but I cheated and I made it longer, as you saw. Not that. This. But I did it like this because I wanted, I really wanted that breath in there. Another thing is, if you use FL Studio, and you use Edison, I'm sure there are other softwares that do this, but I'm familiar with Edison. You just highlight a nice broad section of your sample and press Control L. It will attempt to create a loop. I mean, that sounds perfect to me. I don't know. In fact, that might even be better than my loop. I think I'm going to keep that. Yeah, I'm keeping it. Don't try to stop me. Okay. Polyphone once more. We'll open up our sound font, and now we will add the sample that we just made to the samples tab, or what do you call this? Drop down, I guess. Highlight it, click the speaker here to create an instrument. We got to add a little release so that it doesn't pop whenever we release the key. Okay. Very good. We also need to add a slight attack. That's good. Save. And one last thing, I just want to make sure that everything is in tune. Sounds good to me. Okay, so once you've made your instrument, you then have to make a preset. We'll call it pan flute. Yeah, love it. We're doing great. All right. So now we'll just bring our sound font into the project. Actually, I'll just start a new project so it's nice and clean. Bring our sound font into the project and we can check out the instruments that we have so far. You know what? I just realized I'm still playing in the thing. My MIDI device is attached to the wrong program. Here we go. All right, so now we've got string ensemble, as we've all heard multiple times by now, but for those of you who haven't. Slow string, which is the same thing but slower. Trumpet ensemble. This electric guitar. I like that one. This bongo that I recorded from a real bongo. Not a very good rhythm. Nylon guitar. And now a pan flute. Do you have a tutorial explaining how to do the process you just showed? No, not yet. I have plans to make a video tutorial for how to do that. I'm a little behind on video stuff right now due to some mishap with my last video. So I am just a little bit behind on that, but that's planned for the future. But yeah, also my sound fonts are all totally free. So if you want them, you can have them, use them, enjoy them, be in good health. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty fond of this. Also, the sound font guy GM, I had to make some changes to it because of the stuff that it was using. Now it's got a new piano. This is recorded from by me in real life. And I had to do a new harpsichord because the previous one was copyrighted. So now I have a new one. Some of these still need to be changed. String ensemble, I like that one. Or that's string simple. This is string ensemble. Fun, right? Also, these pads. Cool drum kit. I did download a bunch of public domain samples. Sounds pretty terrible, but I mean, I can work with almost anything because you can always pitch correct and do lots of things. Oh, you guys want to hear a cool sound that I made once? Check this out. This is just ambience, and it even has a loop point. Pretty spooky, right? Mermaid Dreams. Remember when we made this on stream? Or this one, reverse violins. Man, what a cool idea. Whose idea was that? Yeah, I think once I've uploaded the fixed version of the previous video, once I re-upload with all the necessary changes, my next video will definitely be about how to like make your own sound font. Even though the idea is, you know, like I'm making sound fonts so that people can use them. So I guess you could say that it doesn't make sense for me to teach people how to do it, because then why would they come to me? But I don't know. Everybody should be able to do it. I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not trying to like hoard all this for myself. That's why the stuff that I make, I want people to have access to for free. I do have a Patreon. The Patreon isn't to like use the sound fonts though. Like the Patreon is just if like you have a specific request that you want me to work on, I'll do that. Or if you want a remix or a cover in a certain style, I can do that. I actually have one in the works right now, a commission to do a, sorry, let me double check. I just want to make sure I'm allowed to say this. Okay, yeah. So I'm currently working on a commission where I'm going to be doing Zelda, one song from Zelda in the style of Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, however you pronounce it. Yeah, look forward to that. It might be a few weeks to a month before it comes out, but that's one of my current commissions. I wasn't commissioned via Patreon, but Patreon is a good way to get priority commissions if you want some cool music made, however you want it. Otherwise, the sound fonts that I make, once they're made, they're free. You can pay extra to have one made just for you in the way that you like it, but once it's made, everyone can use it. Or a contact library, if that's your poison. Why don't you link the Discord in the description? That's a great idea. Why don't I? Yeah, I have to start planning that kind of stuff out a little better. All right, let's do one synth sound for this sound font, and then I think that'll be it for me for today. Oh, sorry, Milan. I overlooked your chat. Sounds like the beginning of the Nightfall level in Halo Reach. That spooky ambience. Yeah, another person mentioned Halo Reach, I think. Initially too. How about a womp, kind of like in Thousand Year Door? I'm not sure what you mean by that. What's a womp? Yeah, any suggestions for what to do for this last one? I definitely want to do something synthy. We could try using Dext. Would a pitch bend work? Is that adding something that wouldn't be possible in a sample? When you say pitch bend, what do you mean? Like to be able to bend the pitch when you're using it, or for the pitch to bend automatically when you're playing it? Meow synth. Meow synth. Let's try synth 1. Synth 1 is a great synth. It's free, and there's like a billion presets out there that you could try. All free. The pitch to bend while simply pressing the note might be interesting. Like going from one octave until reaching the one you've pressed. You mean like ascending? We definitely could do that. How long should the ascent take? Should it be just like wing, or should it be like because that definitely can be done. I'm just kind of jamming here as we figure out what I actually kind of really like this sound and just want to real quick record it. Sorry, I just really, really like this sound, and I think it would sound cool, like bit crushed or downsampled. So I'm just gonna save it real quick. Put it right here in here, I guess. Make a folder for synth. Chime thing. Maybe test both. And the chat decide what works best. Okay. So shepherd tone. Shepherd tone. Can somebody shed some light on that for me? Shepherd tone. Shepherd tone. Oh wait, I think I know what that is. That's kind of like that organ, right? Is that organ thing? I like combining the ideas. That's why I loved Mermaid Dreams. It just really sounds beautiful. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's do something ascending. Actually, what we can do is we can start by synthing out a sound. Unfortunately, Vilsa Gunner, I'm struggling to understand what it is you're asking me to do. I would happily do it, though. I just don't know. I'm not totally sure what it is. The Infinite Riser. Well, I'm happy to do an infinite riser. Well, maybe not infinite, but I'm happy to do the octave rising thing. But I'm thinking about the timbre more than the pitch. Like what kind of... Oh, look, there's a theremin preset in this synth. Isn't that something? The only thing about a theremin is that I can't build portamento into a sound font, but you can use portamento, like in FL Studio, you can use portamento on a sound font. I think I might just use the theremin here. Wow, look at that. Okay. So I'm thinking what we do is a little bit of that. Drop that there. And then we'll do something like this. Hopefully this works. We'll just automate a pitch bend. Sorry, the is that right? It's not right. It's not right at all. Is it? Is that, I'm not sure if that's right. It sounds like it's like jumping notes, doesn't it? It sounds hilarious. I kind of love it. Let's make it shorter. Retro Ranter, what's up? Welcome. I'm actually like close to done now, but appreciate you stopping by. That's too short. We want to give it some time to... you know what? Hold on. No. Delete these. Delete them. I gotta get rid of that. Yeah, we want it to just start right away. Oh no, not that. Yeah, we want it to just start right away. Because in the sound font itself, we want to have more control of how slow or fast it is to start. So we'll just put that there like that, and we'll do one of these. What about this? It's really quite a sound, isn't it? I like this. I kind of think this is cool. It's not beautiful because it's a theremin, but it definitely has a sort of otherworldly, like alien, like old school alien vibe, doesn't it? Now, hopefully I get the loop points correct. Come on. Nope, that's wrong. There it is. This, I gotta say, this one's pretty funny. All right, I'm going to call this Bree. How's that? Or we could just call it like Alien. Yeah, we're going to call it Alien. Love it. All right, I'm going to drop it here, and now let's turn it into a SNES. Oh, Retro, we got to show you the... Man, that's cool. So now we're just going to play it 2 octaves higher. Hopefully we can, yeah. Yikes. And then I'm going to put it down here. Play it 2 octaves lower again. Oh, that's the wrong, I'm in the wrong thing. No, I'm not. I'm in the right thing. What am I saying? Yikes. All right. It's like a choir of space cats. Yeah, it is. Wow. OMG, that's perfect. The low pitch sounds like a Super Mario World sound effect. Yeah, you're right. It does. Kazooie getting strangled. Nice one. Hey, you're the voice actor. I'm not trying to steal your job. Okay. I just got to find this loop point once more. Never gets old finding these loop points, let me tell you. Some people are really good at it. There's someone in the server, Zyphos or Zyphos, who can like find a loop point in half a second. Where is this loop? Oh, there it is. Found it. Whoops. All right. Now we'll put it in processed and we'll call it SNES Alien. And then we will load it into our fabulous plugin here. Something has gone wrong with the loop point. All right, I gotta fix that. Yeah, that's not right. That is wrong. Okay. Sorry, friends. I know it's not the most pleasant sound. We're getting there. Okay. Trying again. There we go. Now I just want to make sure that we're playing a middle C. Not quite. Sorry, I'm having way too much fun. All right, one last. And all we have to do now is find the loop point once again. I think I found it. Or at least, I mean, I found one. Loop points are not always universal, folks. They can be in different spots depending on, I don't know, where you want it to loop. But this should do it. I feel like I'm going to be... Oh, hold on, wait, sorry. I'm nowhere near professional, however. Oh, you're referring to voice acting? Well, practice your kazooie and you'll get there. Super Mario World called. They want their spring sound back. Yeah, it does sound like that. You know, it's funny. You originally asked for a spring sound, and now we kind of ended up with one. So we'll call this SNES Alien 2. I'm just going to real quick add this to the sound font because I want to show retro what we've done so far just today. All right, we need to tune this a little bit because it's... Okay, that's good enough. It's never going to be perfectly in tune because it's so wobbly, you know? But it doesn't need to be. Alien. There we go. Cool. All right. New project. Now let's show off our cool SNES sound font in progress. Let me just turn this back on. There we go. All right, so to wrap things up, we've got string ensemble, slow strings, trumpet ensemble, great, electric guitar, we've got these amazing bongos, nylon guitar, pan flute, and we've got Alien. Man, that was such a great idea. Yeah, so that's our sound font so far. We're doing an SNES inspired sound font that is intended to sound basically indistinguishable from the Super Nintendo, but without using any samples that were used in Super Nintendo. Basically, completely free of copyright, totally free to use for anybody who wants to use it, without any fear of like, because, you know, if you use like a Link to the Past sound font in your original music, you're technically taking that copyright risk. Even though nobody's ever gotten in trouble for it before, it's still a risk, technically, on paper. So I'll share this in the Discord, even though it's a work in progress. And then anybody who wants to play around with it can play around with it. And if you have any other ideas, feel free to share them with me. And we can, and I can like work on them in the next stream, or work on them in my spare time and then share the updates. This has been a ton of fun. Thank you guys so much. One more face reveal. There. Thank you guys. This has been awesome. I'll hang around for another minute or so just to catch up with chat since there's like a delay. But then I'm a head out. Should I put on some Sound Font Guy original music while we wait for our final like few moments together? I can't think of a song. So I couldn't think of one. Wow, that's kind of a bummer. Nothing came to mind. I must have something, right? Oh, you know what? Since you guys are here, I can show off this. Check this out. This hasn't been released on YouTube yet, but it will be.